winners? Let the pros show you how to make money. General Manager Al DeMarco, a regular contributor on Fox Sports, MSNBC, and Comcast Sports TV, brings over 25 years of handicapping experience to the table. CEO Steve Budin, the author of Bets, Drugs, and Rock and Roll, is the man responsible for creating the online betting industry. Together, they lead PickNation.com, your #1 source for winners.
Hi everyone, Al DeMarco here along with Steve Budin. The first NFL Sunday of the season. Only one thing matters today. Which team in Vegas is going to make us some big money? This is your official NFL pregame show, the only televised pregame show that breaks down all the games from a point spread perspective. I've been a sports handicapper for over 25 years, started my career, however, as a sports reporter. And in those 8 and 9 years that I spent covering players and on the field and in locker rooms, that's what I use, that perspective that I gained to handicap games. I'm not into all this computer mumbo-jumbo and ATS trends. No, I look at personnel matchups. That's what has made me money over the years, and I've won 8 of the last 9 football seasons coming into this one. Steve Budin, CEO of the company, a different perspective, the yin and yang, shall we say, of the sports handicapping, because Steve is a former bookmaker, and not only that, though, Steve is the man that literally created what you now know as the offshore sports book industry back in the 80s. So where I look at games from a point spread perspective, I look at them from a personnel matchup. You instead look at them as a former bookmaker.
Right. Well, you spend a lot of time as a journalist in locker rooms interviewing players. You bring that whole perspective to the table. Obviously, they don't let me anywhere near the locker room, so I can't be afforded that same that same ability. So for me, look, Al, you know, I spend the whole summer with my kids in the backyard, just really sitting by the pool and relaxing. And now, finally, me and every single gambler out there get to make that transition from that healthy lifestyle in the backyard back to the couch where we all belong. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really pumped up.
Well, I say if you're making money, it's a very healthy lifestyle as far as I'm concerned. And that's what this show is all about. We are going to break down every single NFL game on today's card, break them down, give you our opinions, and not only our opinions, we're also going to have 2 of the top handicappers in the business joining us. First, coming up in about 10 minutes from now, we're going to have Chris Jordan, a guy who has won his clients a fortune over the past 5.5 years, one of the top NFL handicappers out there. He's going to have his 3 games he's going to talk about. And then later in the program, Trace Adams is going to be joining us as well to break down all the games. And quickly, before we get started, and the first game we're going to delve into is a great one. It's the Pittsburgh-Baltimore AFC North clash. Let me just remind you, if you miss any portion of this show, if you want to rewatch it from start to finish, all you've got to do is go to the website, and guys, you can watch it and pick it up there anytime, 24/7. Also coming up in a few minutes, I've got the details on how you can save $20 off of any single purchase you make today online. All that and more coming up. But first, Steve, let's talk about this game. I mean, you've got a Pittsburgh-Baltimore series, which, you know, the last 7 regular season meetings in this series, 5 times those games have been decided by 3 points. Once by 4, and then once by 6 points. I mean, so you've got 2 teams, bitter rivals. Ravens looking for a little revenge because they had that playoff game in their grasp last year. Steelers came back, wanted to advance. Can Baltimore get the revenge here, laying naturally the 2 to 2.5 points at home?
You know, I got to be honest with you, especially because of that game last year. I think Pittsburgh absolutely owns Baltimore physically and mentally. Flacco, I mean, he loses Mason, one of his trusted receivers, to the Jets. Now he's going to be back there facing those blitzes from Pittsburgh. He's not going to know where to go. I really love Pittsburgh in this game. I'm going to take the 2 points here. And
I'll tell you what, this is an interesting situation for Baltimore because, you know, Pittsburgh has had great success in terms of stopping Ray Rice in the last few meetings, 20, 32, and 32 yards gained. But I thought the best move that Baltimore made this year was going out and signing Ricky Williams.
Absolutely.
Ricky Williams is not a full-time back, but he still has something left in the tank. He's an excellent receiver out of the backfield. He's a nice change-up where Rice is more of a straight-ahead, downhill runner. Ricky Williams, although not as fleet of foot as he was when he was younger, still can move a little bit and
when he gets ahead
of
steam, very hard to tackle him.
He's like a bowling ball.
Absolutely.
I mean, he really is.
Reminds me of my first girlfriend.
Yeah, dum-dum-dum. How can you even counter on that one, guys? I'm going to tell you right now. Okay, so you like Pittsburgh in this contest. I'll be honest with you. You know, if you look simply at technical trends, I mean, there's trends that support both sides. And that's one of the reasons, guys, that I'm not in love with technical trends, because if you find me 4 that support side A, I'll find you 17 that support side B. But the dog has covered 6 of the last 7 in the series, but you've got a Baltimore team in a virtual pick'em game here at home where the Ravens have won 19 of their last 24 games straight up, going 15-8-1 against the spread in that stretch. And you don't even care about the ATS numbers because, again, it's a virtual pick'em game anytime you got a game under a field goal. So you like Pittsburgh. I got to be honest, guys, and this is my shameless self-promotion.
Love it.
But hey, it's our show. We can do whatever the heck
That's
we want.
right.
This is my best bet. This is my best bet of the day. And, you know, I'm coming off a 7-3 preseason. And let me tell you something. They should give me a medal for winning 7 out of 10 in the preseason. When you're handicapping games and trying to pick winners based on second and third stringers that aren't even in the NFL as of today. I mean, but... So
hard to pick these games. Even if you look at this week, I mean, players really need us this week because the gamblers out there, they're looking at these games like I looked at my wife at the altar. You know, you kind of know what you're doing. You hope you're doing the right thing. It seems like you're doing the right thing, but you don't really know. They don't really know right now what to expect.
Well, you know, I've always maintained that in the opening 2 weeks of the season, and I'm talking about any sport, you always have the advantage over the odds makers. And you as a former bookmaker as well. I mean, over bookmakers and odds makers, it's one and the same. Because, again, they have no more idea than you or I what you can anticipate and what you can see here, especially after this screwed up preseason. I told everybody back in July that this was going to be a preseason to remember. It was going to be one easy to make money because the work stoppage stopped all the off-season training camps, all the off-season publicity and newspaper reports. Everybody relies on the same information. Everybody's scouring the internet trying to get tips. That's how the guys make the lines based on power ratings, the information they gather. You had a screwed up preseason, and now, again, you're into the regular season. I still think that you have a little advantage because you have softer numbers the opening couple weeks. Historically, favorites have been the play in week number 1. Historically,
right.
Don't be surprised if you find 10 or 11 chalks covering the spread in week number 1. But that's how it always goes. You have the advantage.
Well, the other thing is that players need to look out for is, look, everybody was worried about the lockout drama, and everyone's raring to go right now. And they're looking to hit the gate like gangbusters and take their whole bankroll and spread it out on week 1. And, you know, we're going to tell them that they can't do that. That they got to keep, you know, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint, and you got to keep your head week 1.
So finishing up my shameless self-promotion, guys, I've won 9 of the last 11 in this series. You know, I've been a Pittsburgh Steelers fan and a Baltimore Ravens fan, which I don't know. I think that gets me thrown out of bars in at least 2 different states.